Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth and claws. We growl to win this game. We call pro football. Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth and claws. We growl to win this game. We call pro football.
Welcome to the One Star Cowboys podcast. I'm Kevin Turner with John Machota, Saad Youssef, and Kent Garrison as we get you ready for the revenge game that the entire football world is talking about. Rico Dowdle taking on his former team, the Dallas Cowboys. But first, let's clean up a little bit from the flight home. John, traveling with the team, would you have a good time? Did you get bumped up to first class? What's the story there?
Not only did I get bumped up to first class, there was some error either on my part or American Airlines' part that stuck me by a window.
Uh-oh.
And Johnny Boy doesn't do windows.
Really?
So, no, hate it. And
wow, that's a surprise. Veteran traveler, I thought you'd be window guy for sure.
No. What are the benefits of the window? A bunch of cities I've already seen?
Easier to sleep. Yeah.
No chance of me sleeping on a plane. Zero chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
Yeah. I only speak for myself when I say this. Cold weather is the absolute worst. There's no redeeming quality about it at all. And there's no chance of me ever sleeping on a plane. So I just say that because I love when I tell people this and then they start telling you how it works and how it's good. And you're just like, I'm 43. I got this figured out. For you, that might be fine. For me, it is not. So, but I mean, when you want the aisle, there is always the risk of the Michael Scott catching the cart in the leg. That's always a possibility, so you have to ride with that. But anyway, I hate the window so much. And then obviously middle seat is just absolutely no-go. You just don't even fly if that's all the only option.
Oh, I've got stories for you on the middle seat for sure.
But I hate the window so much that I was in the very last row on the aisle. So I was the very last human off this bird that I flew back on, which is fine. It's fine. I'm good. I'm good.
I know you just said this, John. Give window a shot.
There it is, folks.
I know people are saying this. Give window a shot.
You guys got to catch it.
You know what? Yeah. Besides the sleep thing, you don't have to get up anytime somebody else wants to get up. If the guy next to the middle seat has to go pee, you're getting up if you're in the aisle. No matter if you've got to get up, if you're in the middle of something, you got to get up. This guy's got to pee. But if you're against the window, it's your own little world there.
You said give it a try.
Give it a try.
Like, you don't think I've given it a try? You don't think I've come up with
this? Give it a try with this mindset.
Stop it.
He's not doing it at all.
Because I've already experienced it.
No, I'm married to someone that's exactly like you. Cannot sleep and has to be on the aisle. So I know about it.
I thought you meant like stubborn in their own opinions. Like
that too. Sure.
Guess what? I came to the realization, you know what? I'm probably not going to play in the NBA. It's fine. I've come to peace with it. I know what I know. I like what I like. I do what I do.
You are that type of person.
100%. 100%. Yep. So with that being said, my big thought coming out of that game, aside from what I shared on the last pod, is that to me, in my mind, not in the standings, but in my mind, the Cowboys are 3-2. In 3 games, they've exceeded my expectations. In 2, they have underwhelmed. And so the exceeding expectations certainly was the Jets game. I don't care that it was the Jets. The way that they played, 4 offensive linemen down, not having CD, not having Turpin, I was impressed. The way they played against the Jets is kind of how I would have expect whoever pick the team that you want that you think is the best in the NFL right now. That's how I would expect them to have played against that Jets team. They're not going to shut them out. And even if they did, they're not beating them by 50. Like, there's going to be some, back and forth and whatnot. But at no point were you not really in this probably mid-second quarter on, not in control of that game. And they were. And I thought that was impressive. So that's one of the impressive ones. Week 1, the loss to Philly, I was impressed. And then the tie with the Packers. So my underwhelming ones are the win against the Giants and the Bears game. So 3-2 in my mind. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, no, I'm exactly on the same wavelength with that. I think those were the 3 games that I felt best about. Now, it's interesting because you were so close to being able to beat the Packers. And I wonder how that game is going to come back, either for better or worse down the stretch when we get into standings watch in December. But on the feel side of things, yeah, I think they're 3-2.
I think they should be thrilled with that, considering the team that they were going into that game, what the Packers were. That should have been a loss. You know what I'm saying? Like the way the defense played in that game to even tie, I think you got to take that. Now, they're not going to say that publicly, but I think that you take that game and you're like, hey, that's pretty good. That beats a loss. It's certainly, you would rather have the tie than the loss.
Yeah, that Bears game was so gross. And I just wonder if you could somehow like delete that. And I know that Giants game was disappointing too. But if you could somehow delete that Bears game from our conscious, how do you feel? It's probably about the same. It's probably about the same. It's that weird thing though when they give up 40 to Green Bay, and you were expecting, even though if you run that last second out of the clock, maybe you do win that game. Whatever. There was that weird feeling of they are trying some things here. And maybe that happened in week 1 against Philadelphia, where we did make some adjustments in the second half. And just when that's all you need to give you a glimmer of hope. And then, against the Jets, a little different opponent, clearly. But you did see them trying to blitz some more and throwing some more bodies at it and saying, you know what, let's let Shamar James get out there and get some run. And just that is enough, like, hope to keep you going, because after that Bears game, we're doom and glooming, and a lot of Cowboys fans are talking about tanking. So I do think there's something there with just Eberflus being willing or more comfortable trying a few new things on defense, because that has led to some stops, I think.
And the result of that Jets game and the way it went, to me, I think is a 2-win, maybe 3-win swing on your projection. If you're a realist. If you're just a fan, I'm not talking to you. You can turn that out. But I'm talking about, like, if you're just a realist about what you've seen from this team, what you know about the Dallas Cowboys, a realist would look at their schedule and go, at best, they win 9 or 10 games. Likely right now is probably 7 or 8. I'm at 8 right now after that game. But you lose that game, I'm back down to maybe 4 or 5 wins for this team this season. I mean, it just, when you look at the rest of their schedule and what the winnable games are, you have to have that Jets game. And the game we're about to talk to is another one. You have to have this Panthers game if you want to even have a chance of sneaking into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think when we look at the upcoming schedule, now, we talked about this a little bit, KT, after the game, but that gauntlet stretch still looks pretty bad. I mean, take out the Vikings. I don't think that looks as bad as it did in the preseason. But other than that Vikings game, all those games are still Philly, Kansas City, at Detroit. The Chargers is probably tougher than what you thought. The Chargers and Vikings game probably swaps on the field thing, where you thought the Chargers would be tough, but it's kind of winnable. And I think the Vikings kind of can be tough, but it's very winnable, where the Chargers are a little tougher. And then Washington. So that gauntlet of a schedule is still a gauntlet. So coming out of this next stretch where you have Vegas and Carolina, you have to come out with this and then maybe split the Broncos and Commanders at least. So, and then you have to beat Arizona. So, yeah, I think you're still kind of in that stretch where it's kind of crazy. We're talking about they need to be on about a 5-1 or 6-1 stretch here going into that tough part of the season.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to first of all, I agree with you, but it's hard for me to separate some of this from how this looks compared to some of those Romo years. But the thing that you could say about those Romo years, it depends where your standard is as a Cowboys fan, I guess. But the thing you could say about all of those Romo years, even those 8-8 disappointing ones, was you always felt like there was hope. You always felt like there was a chance. And that's the big difference for me.
Well, and also during those times, you're also, as a Cowboys fan, you're not that far removed at that time from seeing what the Giants did, where they got hot, just got into the playoffs. Nobody is expecting that team to make a run to the Super Bowl, let alone get to the Super Bowl and beat, Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. You're not expecting any of that to happen. So you see that, and it kind of gives you a little bit of hope, I mean, I'll just be honest with you right now. When this pod gets over, I'm going to be watching the Detroit Tigers. And the Detroit Tigers are not a team that I think would have any chance of beating the Dodgers, and probably not the Brewers, and maybe not the Toronto Blue Jays. But because I live in Texas, And I seen what that Rangers team did 2 years ago. There's a part of me being like, well, maybe just get hot and you get some guys that, Adolis plays out of his mind and Seager's super clutch and you get some pitching that you didn't really expect. Next thing you know, I don't know, you're in the ALCS and somehow it's going 7 games and you can't even win a game at home and neither can they. And it just strange things happen. But when you see that, it gives you that belief like, well, hey, that could happen for us. And I can see why Cowboys fans would have felt that way at that time. I know covering the team, and those were my early years covering the team, I always thought that too. I was like, man, Romo's playing real well right now. Defense isn't great, but if they just get into the dance, maybe they get hot at the right time, they catch fire, and this is how they get to the Super Bowl, because they won't have the expectations. They will be more of the underdog. Nobody will be expecting them to get there, as opposed to 2016, where you're just like, you're the 1 seed, and everyone's expecting, well, hey, this team's won 13 games, and they're rolling with this, young quarterback and young running back. And even there was a little bit of being the hunted probably during those 3 12-win seasons. But right now, your goal would be to get into that, somehow sneak into the playoffs and be the team that people are like, man, I can't believe that Cowboys team made it in. And then Dak has the best January that he's ever had. That's your hope.
Yeah, and also I think the thing is, and when we saw this a few times during the Romo era, I'm not saying it never happened. Obviously, Romo was fantastic, but the way Dak is playing right now is just, it's the thing that it gives you a chance any given Sunday. And the Green Bay Packers game was the best example of that. But yeah, the way Dak is playing is just a huge X factor for me. And then if you look at the conference, I think right now the team that scares me the most is the Detroit Lions. Other than that, the Eagles are great, but they're a little wounded. You played the Packers all the way down to the wire.
They got issues in-house, too, that make you think, like, oh, that could see that, blowing up into something bigger. There's just too much behind the scenes there for a team that you're just like, no, they're just going to get it back on track and it'll be fine. Like, then they could. But the one part about the Eagles, that there's a little too much drama for how talented that team is and being the defending Super Bowl champs. And I think that we might not see Books on the sideline again in the near future.
Yeah. And then for me after that, it's like the Bucks are great, but in clutch time, really. I mean, you feel like you can take them throughout the game, and then you have to show up in the clutch. And then the 49ers are great, but I mean, you're talking about Mac Jones or Brock Purdy at quarterback, and no Nick Bosa for the rest of the year. And again, if Dallas plays them, I feel like if Dak is playing the way he is, he gives you a chance. So it's really the Lions, and then it's a hodgepodge of teams after that.
Yeah, the Bucs to me are the NFC Denver Broncos, where you're like, they can beat anybody. I don't feel confident they win 4 games in a row in the postseason, though,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's throwing the ball as good as Baker is right now. I mean, he's on another level this year. I mean, you said, John, they've got to go 5-1 this next stretch. What I've seen the last 2 weeks, and looking at the schedule, I think they could go 5-1 on this stretch until KC.
Health would be a big part of it. They got to get some of these guys back. You got to get CD back, and I think that's probably your best path, is that, hey, CD's out, and you get these valuable reps where Pickens is the one, and he continues to build on that rapport with Dak, which obviously it was outstanding against the Jets, and it's really been building. I shouldn't say outstanding. It was very good. And then all of a sudden you get CD back, and now you got them two, and then you throw Turpin back in the mix. Now it looks like Flournoy could probably take a little bit more. Like it seems like he can handle some. Ferguson's catching the ball well, and then with what Javonte Williams is doing, now you got one of the best offenses in the league. But if you're constantly rotating out, what they did on Sunday will not get them to the playoffs in terms of you starting 4 new offensive linemen like that. Yeah. That will only work so much. Like you can't have that for a full season, expect to go to the playoffs. So at some point they got to get a couple of those guys healthy. I can see a world where you lose one of those tackles and Nate Thomas comes in and keeps the ship afloat. I can definitely see that. But I just don't see a world where you're just rolling out there with Keegan or Adeniji, TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman for the whole season, and that you're going to get this team. And that's coupled with that the defense isn't great. If the defense was great, I'd say, hey, maybe you can patch. You need the offense to be pretty outstanding almost every game to have a chance to win.
Yeah, and I think like all this stuff is all like very important, and then you could have a dud in Carolina, and we're back to what the hell.
4 or 5 wins, yeah.
Because Carolina's clearly not a great team. I would they're kind of fun. Carolina and Miami the other day was pretty fun time. but you had a couple horrible Bryce Young interceptions that still make you go, oh my God, I thought he was coming around. The thing that I'm most concerned about with Carolina is I think, even though he's got 24 catches through 5 games, I think that Tet McMillan breakout game is coming. And, if that was going to happen, I think it would happen against this secondary. So that's my fear, is that Carolina is able to score quite a bit and do it in a way that's just not. I mean, they can run. They want to run the ball. Like that's their whole thing. And we know Rico had 205 yards, but I think that's probably the big story is Rico Dowdle. And to me, I'm worried about the Tet McMillan breakout game where he does finally get in the end zone a couple times, and because I also am a big believer in him and bought all the hype on him. So.
Yeah, I would say that those are probably the biggest on-field things that I'm looking at in this game. I'd say off the field, it would be which owner does something to disrespect the other team's fans.
Yes.
I think that's on the table. But no, on the field, I think you definitely hit the nail on the head, KT.
Okay, so Jerry, since you said that, was he trying to say that he got confused about what finger he flashed to a bunch of Cowboys fans?
Yes.
So his nerves just didn't fire off correctly, and the middle finger went up instead of the thumb up or the pointer. I
don't know. I've been around him a bunch, especially in Philadelphia, where he enjoys like giving it back to opposing teams' fans that are saying stuff and that, and he has a good time with it. And so, in the moment, it was probably him just thinking it was a harmless whatever. And even though I feel like we're a good 15. Let me see. Let me do the math on this. I'm going to say 20. 20 years into this, hey, people got phones on those cameras that or they got cameras on those phones that you have in your pocket. So you might want to chill out on that. I think, I don't know, what would be the year when he got recorded saying that stuff about Tebow? I felt like that should have been the eye-opener for Jerry, that, hey, maybe I can't talk the way I used to. And then there's been some TMZ stuff that's happened along the way since then. So I think that he's more aware now than ever that people have cameras on them all the time. Maybe I got to dial it back a little bit. But yeah, I find it hard to believe that he mixed up his middle finger and his thumb.
My favorite one was Roma was a miracle.
He was a miracle. He was a miracle.
Like 08 or 09, probably. Definitely a good one. Whoever was rolling on that. What journalism? Or were we off the record? And that's a question. I don't know about that one.
Oh, you think the fans were off the record in the stands on Sunday? Guys is off the record. We can do whatever we want right now.
What was more offensive to you? Was it the Jerry Jones finger, or was it the Nate Thomas pump? Because that was funny.
That was funny. I just can't even say either of them offended me at all. I mean, I'm good friends with Todd Archer, covers team for ESPN. I flick Todd off all the time. I flicked him off up in the press box. Saad, you've been to MetLife. You know how like when you walk out of the main press box area? See, this is what's cool about MetLife. So where Jerry's at flipping off those fans, he has to walk by the press box to get out and get to the elevator. So that's like, there's this spot like where they have like kind of a cafeteria area where it's like kind of glassed in. And so, I don't know, like sometimes you flick somebody off and they're walking by as a joke. You're just having fun, You didn't think that you'd get fined $250,000 for doing it. So I don't take it offensive at all. I guess some people do. I think if you do it to strangers, I'm sure that's a little bit different. Like in your car, they get really mad when you do that in your car to another person. So, yeah, I didn't think it was anything malicious that Jerry did, but I also don't think 10 years ago anything probably comes of it. But I think that there's like a precedent being set because of like, I don't think Tepper flipped off a fan. I think he threw a drink at a fan, the Panthers owner. And there's just some other things that have happened with owners and fans. So I think that is set. Well, we find this guy this amount, so we have to whatever. And don't quote me on this because I don't know if this is 100% factual, but my understanding is that like those fines, it's not like it goes to the NFL. It's the owner has to donate it to a charity, which I'm pretty sure Jerry often donates that type of thing to the Salvation Army. So I don't know that it's like the end of the world. Also to him, I don't think $250,000? Is it $250,000? 250 $250,000. 250. Sorry.
Hey man,
if you listen to the ticket, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, you need to
just stop. Just leave it at that.
Peyton Yeager alone.
No, we don't throw out any names. People that listen to the ticket know they play the drop all the time.
I'll say they're not the only station or show that's played that clip. In fact, I played it before they did.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I heard it on KEGL 97.1, the Eagle 3 to 6.
I apologize.
Probably the freak then, but yeah.
I apologize.
You would never hear that on the fan, though.
Well, the thing is, I'm surprised Jerry didn't admit to it. Like, yep, just having a good time with the fans. You know, I'm surprised he kind of tried to take a different route. I guess maybe if you're an owner, you can't admit to flipping off fans because that's a worse look. But I'm willing to bet that guy going to that stadium in New York in general has seen 10,000 middle fingers.
Oh my God.
In his lifetime? More? I'm willing to bet there were 50 pointed at him right then in that moment. So for him, especially when his team is winning, for him not to be able to reciprocate that in some way, I think is crazy.
Yeah, I'll say though that, I mean, he did say it was late in the game. And I just don't think there's that many Jets fans that even cared at that point to really be flipping anybody off. I think they were pretty much hit the exits and they were out. I mean, I had that feeling at halftime, to be honest with you. I mean, the 2 touchdowns in the final minute kind of were the nail in the coffin there if you're the Jets. I mean, watching that game, let me tell you, I'm an expert on this, okay? I saw firsthand the 0-16 Lions. I'm not saying the Jets are going to go 0-16, but they have a lot of similarities in things that they do in the games. I mean, Javonte Williams' 66-yard run, that'll be on the highlight clip if you go 0-17. The way the team just crumbled after the Leofau punch-out, I mean, things were going fine there. Probably was about to be 10-10. In a way, you know what's kind of interesting about that play? Kind of remind me a little bit of Javonte Williams' fumble in Chicago. Like, things were going fine in Chicago early. That fumble happens on that big run up along the sideline by the Bears bench, and it was just like, I don't know why, but the Cowboys just didn't. That was from that point forward, that's the worst that they've played this season in my mind. And I was just kind of like, guys, this is the Bears. Like, I don't know why you folded up the tent and you're leaving now. Like, you got plenty of time. You're going to be fine, you know? And I kind of got that feeling with the Jets too, where I was like, and I guess it's maybe compounded from the way that they played in their previous 4 games, but it just was weird how you had a big run. All of a sudden it's like, oh, you know, you're just rolling. And then there's this one Maris Leofau punch out. And now all of a sudden you can't do anything. And the game's over and it's not even halftime yet. So that's the only reason why I'll say I don't know that the Jets aren't going to really be that fiery with Jerry Jones. Certainly in Philadelphia is when I've seen it, you know, the most, when he's gotten it the most and given it back to the most fans for sure.
So I'll start with you here. So we have a offensive line situation now with 4 guys hurt. Maybe we get Guyton back this week. Should they put Tyler Guyton back in there, or do you just kind of roll with what was working with? Obviously, Tyler Smith has earned a spot and he plays, but Tyler Guyton's a guy you're still questioning anyway, and the fact that he is a first-round pick does matter. If Tyler Guyton was good to go Sunday, would you make any changes there at left tackle?
No, I wouldn't. I'd keep Nate Thomas in, and I'd have Guyton dressed and ready to go the way that Tyler Smith was that last game. Now, obviously, Tyler Smith is not in this conversation. If he's ready to go, he's going.
Sure.
But with Guyton, the thing is, you can play it off. You can play it off as a situation publicly the way you did with Tyler Smith last week. Like, he's hurt. We're dressing him. If he has to go in, he'll go in. But if Nate Thomas can keep holding serve, to me, you let it go. And I think that's the only person in that position where I would do that with. If Cooper Beebe came back, I'm putting him back in. If Tyler Booker came back, I'm putting him back in. With Guyton, the fact that he's hurt, the way that Nate Thomas has played, you always get a week or 2 buffer to where you can play it off and be like, hey, he's healthy, but we're going to ride it with this guy. And that's the way I would play it.
I think I'd go with Guyton. I just feel like he's your future. I could be wrong. And it's a concussion. So as long as he clears protocol, then he would return to practice and be ready to go. And so I think that they'll go back to Guyton and just have Nate Thomas be the swing tackle. And judging by how their offensive line is, he's one play away from getting back in there. That's how I think that they'll do it. But I wouldn't be opposed to Nate Thomas if they feel like that he's clearly the better player. I think it sends a bad message to your team if you're not playing the best players. But I personally believe that they're going to put Guyton back at left tackle as long as he clears all the protocols.
How close do you think we are now on, and as we record this, on Tuesday evening, right, on October 7th, to Booker and CeeDee Lamb? I mean, because they've never fully when here's the timetable, specifically, it's always been very loose, 2-week window. Where do you think we are now?
With how well everybody else played against the Jets, I feel like the Panthers that bought them another week to where it's like, okay, this gets you another week, and it sets up for those guys to come back against Washington. It's a division foe. That could be a huge game for you. Give those guys some extra time. That's just kind of what I'm looking at right now. I would be surprised if those two aren't back for Washington. So I think that they go another week without them, and then they come back the following week, and they're back at jumping back into practice and playing.
Yeah, and especially with neither one of them going on IR, I would be shocked if it went past Washington, because then you could have just putting him on IR could have sent that message. But hey, I mean, last year Micah Parsons missed 4 games; he didn't go on IR, so those things do happen. But that's just my inkling as well.
Yeah, Shotty was good on that. I don't know if I'd said that on one of our last shows or not, but he was pretty good on that a week ago, talking about why with some players, like star players, you don't do that. Is because if you think that, okay, yeah, it's probably a 4-week injury, you can put them on IR, and because obviously like a CeeDee Lamb or Micah Parsons, super elite athlete, all of a sudden they're like, oh, damn, they're ready to go now. It's only been 2 weeks. Now these guys got to sit for another 2 weeks. Like, oh, man, we should never have done that. And it sounded like he, whether it be directly or through other people he knows, experienced that in the NFL. And so that's why when the star players are like that, they're usually going to give them the benefit of the doubt of like, hey, he might be able to come back after 3 or 2. And I know the doctors think it's 4, but these guys are freak athletes. Like, let's not do that. And then all of a sudden we're guaranteeing we don't have him for 4. He's definitely out 4. And so that was a big part of their decision-making with CD. And with Booker, it just has sounded like that he's always been a little ahead of CD. Like his wasn't as bad, which to me would make sense. He played that entire game. Watch CD's injury in slow motion, and you would think that it ended his season. So both high ankle sprains, they're a little bit different.
With Flanoy, obviously come out of the gate to give him the ball, first play. Or trying to get him going. So it's something they obviously game planned for him to be involved. But I didn't think Flanoy's involvement and focus on him would mean that Jalen Tolbert is non-existent in that game. Do either of you guys have a read on what happened there? Is it something going on with Tolbert, or is it just, has Flanoy passed him in practice, or is this just something they had planned and thought it would be a good week for Flanoy to pop?
Well, I think that matchups probably play into it, and Dak probably likes some of the looks. He's, obviously they were going to do a lot to take away George Pickens, and Sauce was following him around, and so probably it was the advantageous matchup, the one that Dak liked the best. But then also, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the big play he had up the Jets sideline, I'm pretty sure that there was an guy offsides, and Dak treated that like a free play. And I've said this, I don't know if I've said it on here, but I've told many people this, like, I think that might be the deadliest Dak Prescott is and he's so good at that. When they get somebody to jump and he has the free play, he almost never does a check down or takes a safe throw. He usually uncorks it, and he's had a lot of great results from those plays. And I think that that's a big part of it. And obviously Flanoy broke the tackle and he made a big play on it, so that adds to it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you told me, I don't think CD's back for this game, so it's similar receiver room. If you told me that Tolbert has a better game than Flanoy against Carolina, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, I don't think this is any, changing of the guard, now he steps in. To be honest with you, the way Jerry was talking on the radio, since we mentioned all the other radio stations, 105 through the Fan this morning, it does sound like there's a good chance that Turpin comes back. So if you have Turpin out there too, that knocks everybody else down a rung. So you might not even. I think for anything, I think it could be game to game thing with Tolbert and Flanoy. What the Flanoy thing said to me more was, I don't know where Mingo fits into all of this when he comes back. So.
Real quick, I should say, like on that, you're right. On that drive, it was a free play, but when that drive started, that was the drive that they started at their own 4-yard line because they had an illegal shift penalty right before the 2-minute warning. But that illegal shift was on Cropper, who was in the game. So just out of curiosity, to look up the snap counts and all that stuff. Yeah, Flanoy, 34 snaps. Jalen Tolbert, 46 snaps. I mean, he did out-snap him, so he was out there. Just wild for him to only have one target, I thought. That was a little crazy. But no one was expecting Flanoy to have, 5 catches, 104 yards in the first half. But just like Tolbert, you got the big catch, in the Green Bay game. You're thinking, hey, Bill knows he's going to step up, big day. And then one target just felt a little odd. But maybe the Jets are like, hey, he's the guy they're going to go to. And they think, so it all makes sense. It just strange. Because you want more, too, out of him,
You do, but there is also the part where, like, I've never thought he was a 1 or 2. You draft him where you do because you think he has the potential of being a 2. But I think as a 3, though, I think he's pretty solid because he can go an entire game of really doing a ton on the stat sheet and then make that play on the sideline against Green Bay. And that's really what you want because, to me, that play on the sideline against Green Bay brought back some little bit of memories from that playoff game at AT&T Stadium against San Francisco when they're driving late and Dak throws up that, just chucks that ball and Cedric Wilson can't get back and underneath it. You're just like, man, like that type of play. If Jalen Tolbert makes that in that playoff game, Cowboys are moving on, And so he's made, I go back to last year at Pittsburgh, like he made some big plays in that game. He had the game-winning catch on the goal line there. He's shown me enough that I wouldn't write him off, like to where you're just like, okay, well, he's out of there now. It's Turpin and then Flanoy, and then maybe it's him or Mingo next. I still have him in the mix. I wouldn't completely write him off, but he certainly is a guy that if you're searching social media, he takes a lot of hits from the fans.
Yeah, and I think this is not like from the Schottenheimer and Cowboys coaching staff perspective, but it does behoove the Cowboys if Flanoy does pass Tolbert, just because Tolbert is a free agent after this season, and you don't really. If he'll be a cheap contract, if you want him back, you can get him back. But Flanoy was a 2024 draft pick, and you have 2 more years with him on a rookie deal. So if Flanoy does, I don't think he's past Tolbert or anything. I think they're in the same mix right now. But if Flanoy does show you more and does kind of, grab that, and then all of a sudden it's CD, George Pickens, Turpin, and Flanoy, that's better, in my opinion, for the Cowboys in the future anyways, just because now you're getting production out of your 2024 6th-round pick for 2 more years through the 2027 season. So, again, that's just me as a analyzing the situation type thing, not saying necessarily that's what's happening right now. But Tolbert is a free agent after this year. Flanoy has 2 more years after this season on a rookie deal.
And you got to have some of that money for that franchise tag you're about to put on Pickens. So,
you think that's realistic?
If things keep going this way, I don't see how Jerry lets him leave the building. I said that about Micah too, but I don't get the sense that George is going to be like Micah behind the scenes where, things go in a way where it goes. And also Pickens is on offense. So, Jerry loves the wide receivers. And if it keeps rolling this way, I just don't see a way that he lets them go. And so while for most players in his situation, I would say they're going to extend him, and maybe they do. He has the same agent as Micah Parsons. So that's why I'm saying that at the very least, I would think that they would franchise tag him if it keeps going in this direction.
Yeah.
Can't you just see how this? We've seen these stories. Like, this is how it's going to go, guys. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to show some positive things, and then there's going to be some growth on defense. So that's what the selling point will be going into next year. It'll be like, this will be Shoddy's got a full year under his belt. Look at the improvements the defense made under Eberflus. hey, I didn't do them any favors because I traded Micah right before the season, but this is the year. But like you can see it all, where now we got our nucleus together. We got 2 1s. We're going to help fix the defense even more with those. I mean, guys, it's right there for you.
It is, but look, didn't it behoove you to be on a speaking terms with Micah's agent so you could call up George Pickens' agent right now and be like, let's talk? Like, why does it hurt to be like, hey, here's a 3 or 4 year deal for George Pickens, and you're getting him cheaper than what he'll be at the time.
And I hate to
do that now.
And I agree with you, but and when you're saying that, the first thing I want to just come back with is, well, yeah, but this is the Cowboys, and they don't do things like that. But I don't even like saying that because I don't even really believe that it's a Cowboys thing. It's a Jerry Jones thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really, honestly, I don't believe that when Stephen Jones is running the team. Now, will there be a player here and there will drag out? Absolutely. But I don't think it will be as prevalent. Like, I think that Jerry is the biggest factor in that. And so because he's the owner and general manager, he's the reason why I just sit here and say, like, yeah, everything you say makes sense. And a lot of organizations will do that. But because it's Jerry Jones, and I've always felt like, hey, things obviously went sideways with him and Micah, but I don't get the sense that David Mulligeta isn't a little bit also in there with Jerry too. And I'm not even saying it's like a negative, like David did anything wrong other than just doing his job. I'm just saying that when Jerry gets kind of jaded on some things and dug in, he's a businessman, and I could see because of that's what leads to, they weren't able to get the deal done, so he's going to have to play under the tag.
Yeah, and also, a lot of the things that we talked about with George Pickens' contract extension when they traded for him, to me, some of those things still hold true. I mean, in terms of, I think you are getting the best version of George Pickens because he is on a contract year. I think there's some truth and part to that. The other thing is, I still want to see kind of how he functions when CeeDee Lamb is on the field, because right now he's the one. He's getting all the targets, and he's playing with a quarterback who's a top 3 MVP candidate. But what happens when he does have to share the targets, and what happens when maybe the Cowboys are struggling a little bit and he has a 3-4 target game? The Philadelphia Eagles were undefeated, and A.J. Brown is posting things about wanting to get out of Philly. So I think it goes further than just the production, because right now we don't even know if how George Pickens is going to end up being throughout the whole season.
Sure. Here's a tough one for you guys. What do you feel better about? The Cowboys' pass defense or their rush defense?
Rush defense.
On the heels of giving up 8 yards a carry to Breece Hall.
Yeah. No, I still feel better about the rush defense. And that's not to say I feel great about it. I just think I like the pieces that are involved there, particularly a defensive tackle. Then I still think that back end is, against a decent quarterback, I still have a lot of question marks about that group, So, yeah.
Even with this re-energized pass rush being a part of the pass defense?
Yeah.
After last?
Yeah.
Saad?
Yeah, I feel better about the run defense as well because again, I do take the opponent into account a little bit. It's the Jets offense with Justin Fields. I don't know how, we'll see how the pass rush manages in the next few weeks and everything. But on that front, James Houston has been absolutely phenomenal, and that's been a great surprise. But yeah, let's see how they do in the next few weeks before I jump on that.
Yeah, every good team needs to have 2 or 3 of those under the radar pickups that make a huge difference, and they're not talked about much. Although the Cowboys, one of them will be Javonte Williams. It will be talked about much just because he plays a sexy position at running back. But their ability to get James Houston is turning out to be huge. And even it's not overwhelming, but Kenneth Murray being able to just kind of hold it down in a position group that's completely in flux until Overshown gets back, I think that says something too. So there's some really good pro personnel moves that they should be applauded for. I can't believe it, John. When me and Saad and I talked about the other night, 4 offensive linemen down every NFL team is going, we don't have a chance. And for them to go out and not only win but dominate was really, really great and a breath of fresh air, because I can't tell you the last time you went into a Cowboys game with one or two guys down on the offensive line where there wasn't just full freak out that the whole game plan's going to get washed away. And hell, let me say about like Green Bay, when they played Cleveland the other day, 2 offensive linemen down, and they're like, no, we can't let Jordan Love drop back and throw the ball down the field. No. And they end up losing. It's because they panicked. Like, I just think that's very impressive. And congrats to Schottenheimer and Clayton Adams and all the guys. I know Clayton Adams is a buzzword name in the football industry right now. And maybe he should be. Do we have any idea the length of his contract?
I don't.
A lot of that didn't come out, I know.
Yeah,
so.
No. It's tough to get him on the head coach, let alone the assistants. He does seem very happy to be here. But yeah, it could be one of those things where he gets a chance to call play somewhere else. You know, I don't know that will happen after 1 year, but I would think you'd have him for at least another season.
So, do you know the rule on this? If you get promoted, like, is there a difference in, okay, offensive coordinator calling plays, head coach?
No.
They should implement that.
No.
Because it is a promotion. They should implement that into the. You know, I'm going to tell the competition committee next time I see him.
Hey, real quick, just because I said earlier, while we've been talking, I quickly wrote this down on a pad of paper, and the longer we go in the season, it's too long to get through this, so I'm just going to run through these real quick, because I told you about how I think the Maris Leofau fumble was the difference play. Mm-hmm. So I quickly did all 5 games. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. These are the key plays in all 5 Cowboys games. All right?
Okay, Norm, I love this.
Here we go. Eagles, no question. Jalen Carter spitting on Dak.
Oh, really?
You lose Jalen Carter, that changes that game completely.
That's fair. Boy,
you're gonna love the Packers game.
Runner up to the CeeDee Lamb drop, though?
Yeah, I don't even think that you're in a position where it's close late.
Okay.
You're not. I don't think you're running the ball on them with him. Remember how that game started? You had those 2 Javonte Williams touchdowns. You're just like, 2 rushing touchdowns from the Dallas Cowboys? Wait.
It was week 1.
Giants game, 64-yard Aubrey field goal to force overtime. Bears, the Javonte Williams fumble. What we talked about already. And then for the Packers game, Wyatt injury.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because you lose that defensive tackle. Your other top defensive tackle is on the Cowboys. It's not like you just replace those guys. And if you go back and look at the play-by-play, like I was just doing, like, game completely changes after that. Packers were rolling up to that point. Cowboys offense took off after that happened.
Okay,
is he back, by the way?
I don't think so. They're playing the Bengals, though, so, I mean,
yeah,
we're trying to rush.
That was a big loss for them.
Flacco, baby.
Flacco's back in town. Hey, John.
Devontae Wyatt. Sorry.
Keep this bit up, and then we will violate NFL copyright rules, and we'll get all these plays and mash them together into one clip.
Okay.
We'll put that up. Do you guys want to do picks? You guys, all of us. Quick thoughts on the Panthers. Clearly, a very a team that's not very good, but is trying to be better. From what I've seen, Bryce Young is not made those big improvements that we were seeing at the end of last year. It's been a rough go for him so far this year. And went back and watched a little bit of the Panthers and Dolphins again today. Ugh. Those first half interceptions are awful, like atrocious stuff. So, I mean, they've got to be thinking he's got 1 foot out the door. I know it's a little early, but man.
Dude, I mean, there's nobody that was more "see, I told you so" about Bryce Young late last year than me, because I when they benched him early last year, my first thought, and I remember I tweeted it as well, was like, if CJ Stroud was in this, the Panthers are where quarterbacks go to die, and maybe that's true. Maybe Bryce Young is like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, where he leaves Carolina and finds something, but man, I got to eat crow, because you're right. He looks awful right now. And it's tough because he has weapons. he has things at his disposal. It's not an empty chamber over there. So, yeah, I mean, if you can make it one dimensional and make Bryce Young try to beat you, like I don't think that he can.
For me, this game, I think of Dowdle, obviously, Tet and McMillan, because you don't have, if he doesn't get drafted by the Panthers, you don't have George Pickens. Tet McMillan is going to the Cowboys. If he falls to the Cowboys, obviously doesn't go to a team in between them. So this Cowboys team does not have Tyler Booker or George Pickens if Tet McMillan doesn't go to the Panthers. So Tet McMillan is a big part of this game that interests me. But the other part is that now we're going 3 straight weeks now with the teams that would have been in consideration for Micah Parsons. It's the team that traded for Micah. And then last week, it is a team that Jerry called. It has come out that it sounds like that they wanted Quinnen Williams. And at that point, the Jets weren't interested. And now they play the Panthers, who it sounds like they were probably the runner-up. And I don't think anyone's reported this, but I would imagine from what Jerry has said, they probably would have wanted, I would think, Derek Brown. I would think that would probably be the player that they would go after. So this is 3 consecutive weeks of probably one of the teams that Micah was going to go to. So that part interests me as well. And then obviously both team owners have had some interesting moments with fans.
Yeah, no doubt. Panthers have not been a good defense. They've not stopped the run very well. They have ran the ball okay. And last week, obviously being that day, they actually did a decent job stopping the run a little bit last week against the Dolphins.
One more on the defense, also J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn, another guy.
If he falls 2 picks, then you don't ever even get Micah Parsons because they would have taken J.C. Horn.
I think they've also, I saw that they are plus 12, I think, in penalties this year. So they've benefited a lot. They've been getting some calls and things like that. So, again, not a good team, but, again, the scary road game at noon. They handled it very well last week. We'll see who's healthy as the week goes on and things like that. Let's go to picks. Last week, John Machota extends his lead. Now 8-6-1 on the year.
Those pesky 49ers. Didn't you have the line at 4?
I think 5.5.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that 12 guys got hurt, but since that podcast and when the game kicked off and the line moved to 8. And I really hated that 8. Pick at the moment. Also, the Cowboys line. Did you see how much that moved before game time?
Was it how much?
They went to being a 1.5 point underdog against the Jets.
Okay, I had us at 3.5. So yeah, because all the offensive linemen were hurt.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a big line move in the NFL for not non-franchise quarterback being the player that's out.
Oh, no doubt. But I don't know that I thought they were going to lose. I did pick the Jets to beat them, but
I thought it'd be a very ugly close
4.
game.
I was like, what? We've just seen this a million times. It doesn't go well ever. And you're just thinking of, Chaz Green, and you're thinking of every time Sean Lee got hurt. Those are my 2 references. But it was like a topic all week. How are we going to win without Sean Lee? It's not that simple, but these narratives might be covering up some of the truth that happens sometimes. Let's go to picks, though. John, we'll start with you because you kicked all the butt last week. Cowboys, this time, as of right now, 3.5 point favorites. Sorry. Favorites.
You just wanted to say undies.
Yeah, that's
the only reason you mixed that.
just like when a field goal hits the upright or a coach talks about chewing out his team. I know where KT wants to go with these things. I've known him long enough. I missed that while the game was going on, and I'm standing outside of MetLife waiting for my Uber, and I see this firestorm that you created. I was dying, man. I seriously, I was cracking up by myself, only person in a MetLife parking lot when I read that, and I was just like, wait a second, you left this up for hours before you even responded to what you were really saying?
I knew something was weird when there's a bunch of people replying to it that I'd never seen before. It's like, something cracked the algorithm, and this is getting fed to all kinds of football fans across the world. Oh, no.
Bitch, is you magical?
I used to be.
You were magical with that tweet. But no, give me the Cowboys.
Okay, Dallas, minus 3.5. Sod.
Yeah.
By the way, Sod, 1-2 last week. You're 6-8-1 overall. You're on John's heels.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys.
Kent, 1-2 last week. You were 5-9-1.
That's rough because I pretty much nailed the score last week, so we're getting no credit for score predictions. So I won't do that. But give me Dallas for sure in this game. We're Dallas, one twisted ankle away from the Andy Dalton revenge game too, guys. Keep that in mind.
Oh yes, jeez, weirdly a lot of connections in this game. Yeah. For a team we don't play that much. I was 0-3 last week. And sit in fourth place at 4-10-1. But game theory tells me that if you guys all pick the Cowboys and I'm in last place and need to catch up, week 6 is not too early to start throwing some Hail Marys. I'm going to go Panthers plus 3.5 for the sake of the game. I do think the Cowboys are going to win. Saad, we'll start with you here in round 2. Our second game of the week, I've chosen Tampa Bay and San Francisco. Tampa Bay 3.5-point favorites.
Give me San Francisco to cover, just because I feel like every week the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are winning on the last second. So even if they win, I feel like they're going to win by a field goal or less. So give me San Francisco.
San Francisco plus 3.5. I only chose this game because both teams are 4-1. I felt like it'd be negligent to neglect it. There you go. Kent?
Yeah, give me Tampa.
Oh, Baker. Boy, this is tough now. This game being played in Tampa Bay, but it's not a noon game. It got the 3:25 window, so it's not like a 10 a.m. start for the 49ers. I'm going to take San Francisco to cover somehow, some way. John?
Give me the 40 Whiners. And I only call them that because lately, when the tours are going around around the practice facility, like a week ago, I heard one of the tour guides say something about the San Francisco 40 Whiners. And I was like, can you just imagine, like, you do 15 tours a day and that's just like your go-to, like, just the same part of the tour every single time you say that. Yeah, crazy. Give me the Niners though. I just, I get 3.5. Is that right?
Yeah, you get 3.5 with that.
Yeah,
you're going to take 49ers, the 40 Whiners.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just tell you, as a guy who in college part-time, I had a friend that worked at Texas Motor Speedway, and he's like, dude, if you want to do like 8 hours, 10 hours a week, just a couple days, a little extra work, you could come give a tour guide. And I would load people up in a van and drive it around the track, which is dangerous because I have narcolepsy. But you would make up some things on those tours to just get you through and kill the time. It was like doing stand-up comedy for an hour.
Out of all of my friends, I don't know that I would pick anybody over you to be a tour guide, because I could easily see you doing a lot of bits and things like that would keep it fun for sure. So that does not surprise me at all. I don't know how great the pay is on something like that.
Horrible.
But I could see you doing that. And I also could see you being a very successful, because this is the Panthers week, I could see you being a very successful mascot as well.
Oh, thank you. It is Sir Per week.
It is.
Big time, dude. Big time.
That's right.
Big time.
Sir Per.
God, Robbie Anderson. Man, I miss him.
All right, one last thing on that. When I moved down here and I was covering high school football, like especially those games early September, just like how much the students that are the mascots for these high school teams, and it's 100 out. And I'm just like, and you're just doing it for the school spirit. You're not getting anything out of that thing, you know? There's definitely times where Rowdy is sweating it, you know? Sometimes in training camp, and obviously like when they come back to AT&T or when they come back to the Star and stuff. But like a lot of that's a thankless job there. Got to clean that suit a lot, I would think. It's got to be a sweaty mess. Pretty disgusting.
A tough deal. I've chosen this one for Game 3. Kent, Sunday night, the Detroit Lions head down to Kansas City to take on Travis Kelce and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We have Kansas City as 2.5-point favorites. What are you doing here?
I'm a little surprised you didn't pick Colts v. Cardinals, because it's going to be a game I'm watching this weekend. Excited about that. I feel like Kansas City at the end of the season is going to be Kansas City. I don't feel like they're going to miss the playoffs. I don't feel like they're going to be bad. I feel like they're going to figure this thing out. And they just lost a crushing defeat to the Jaguars. So I feel like they're going to bounce back. Give me KC.
All right. I like it, and I like your logic. But just for the sake of, I think it'd be kind of funny if them and Baltimore are just struggling really bad. I will take Detroit plus the 2.5. John.
Yeah, there's just no way. The Chiefs opened the season and lost 2 games in a row. There's no way they can lose 2 games in a row again and drop to 2-4. So give me the Chiefs. There just would be no way that the Lions could win this game.
Chiefs minus 2.5.
You think John cares about his record on this show more than picking against or picking the Lions? Come on now. He's not going to do that.
And
could have been Lions against the Jets, and he'd be like, Aaron Glenn knows he knows. Lions,
no. The only reason I can go against that is just because of this last couple of weeks. Like, I easily would have picked them against Cincinnati and Cleveland. Like, I mean, that whole Browning situation, and then just with Cleveland, that's different. But this is a game that since the schedule came out, I was like, nah, I don't think they're gonna. That's always been a loss for me for the Lions.
Outside,
yeah.
All right, Saad.
Yeah, give me the Lions. I think, man, since that loss to the Packers, they look so different, and I feel really dumb for overreacting to that. Clearly, 2 new coordinators they were breaking in, and they look like a machine.
Personnel-wise, aside from occasional maybe that someone gets arrested or injuries, personnel-wise, we're talking like week 1, what their roster is. There isn't a more talented team the last 2 years in the NFL. And
for sure.
I will argue that with anybody. There's not a more talented team at all.
I agree.
They're at all levels. They have there's just so many of their 3rd, 4th, 5th best guys are 1s and 2s on other teams. Sam Laporta is a monster on some other team. Just every week. And when I'm watching Ferguson all the time, I can just see what Sam Laporta would do if he was a second option on another team, and he's like their 4th guy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They remind me that Jared Goff is not Patrick Mahomes. I was telling my brother this earlier, but their roster reminds me of like how loaded the Chiefs were when Kelsey was still young, Tyreek Hill was in his prime, Chris Jones was obviously. I mean, you just had like all levels. They just had playmakers all over, and not clearly that Chiefs aren't what they were then. But I'm just not picking them because I just don't see Mahomes having another. If they had beaten the Jags, it'd be different, but I don't see them losing another game or dropping to 2-4. I just don't.
2-4 would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be.
The Ravens falling to 1-5 would be crazy, but you could totally see that happening.
Yeah, but the Ravens are. I mean, I know the Cowboys were injured, but I mean the Ravens are missing just. I think I saw a stat. It's like $160 million off their salary cap. The type of injuries the Ravens have. I mean, you lost your quarterback. I mean,
that's the thing. Like, if you want to compare it to the Cowboys would have to not have Dak.
Yeah.
And that changes everything. Can you just imagine this team right now with Joe Milton as the starting quarterback? Like, I think they have 1 win, but I don't think that they're 2-1.
No, I agree.
They're probably 1-4.
I agree. 100%. Well, hopefully we stop the run, stop Rico Dowdle from getting his revenge for the Cowboys choosing Javonte Williams over him, letting him out the door. You never let Rico Dowdle out the door. But we will talk to you on Sunday, sometime after the game at some point. And make sure you're following everyone here. Saad and John over at The Athletic. Kent Garrison's got that Mad About Movies podcast, and it's just popping all the time.
It's popping. Promote your SNL pod, KT.
I have a new SNL podcast called The After Party. If you want to get my reactions to a horrible season premiere, you can go get that. Spotify.
The After
Apple.
Party. Go look for it.
The After Party. We'll just break down every SNL episode just in case you want that type of thing. Also, please follow Haymaker Network at Haymaker Network on Instagram and stuff. We're going full video in a couple weeks. Clock's ticking on that. I've seen the studio. It's looking good, so we'll get that going.
Last 5 years, what's the best SNL skit? One. You only get one. Go.
Oh, wow. Best skit of the last 5.
See, I don't think it's close, so that's the only reason I asked.
Well, I think one of the many joke swaps would be what I think is like the funniest.
Swaps are good.
That's fair.
But
what do you think,
not like
John?
a sketch.
Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, yeah.
That was fine. That was pretty good.
No,
my favorite is
spectacular.
What's My Name, the game show with Hader, where you're putting people on the spot. Be like, this person babysat your kids for 3 months. What's their name? You know, that whole.
I don't know that I've even seen that.
Okay, it's great. Okay. They ran it back with John Mulaney last year.
Okay,
and he does a whole thing about like. He's a, kind of righteous political guy. And then they're like, okay, well, if you know so much, and they bring out the guy who ran for vice president with Hillary in 2016, Tim Kaine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, what's it?
No one knew his name. Yeah.
The answer might be George Washington sketch.
Ooh,
that might be the
another
answer.
good one. That is good.
Conan says that sketch should be in the Smithsonian.
That is a good one. I forgot about that. That is very good.
I totally have an Excel sheet of my top 50 sketches of last year if you want me to send it over to you.
Yeah, I would. And if Beavis and Butthead isn't in the top 5, you're dead to me.
Yeah, I think that was a season 49 one, so I don't know if I made a top 50 for that year. Okay. Oh, well, the point is we're doing the Cowboys podcast. And they play Sunday, and go team. For Saad, for John, for Kent, I'm Kevin. We'll see you next time on the One Star Cowboys podcast.
Michael Parson.
For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnywalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.